The Giants destroy the Diamondbacks, a player profile on Dakota Jordan, and let's explain the offensive explosion. It's all coming up on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. My name is Alan Stiles. On the show, we provide daily episodes of Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay Area. I also host a show at Sacktown Sports 1140 in Sacramento, where I live now, the Alan Stiles Show, 10 a.m., 2 p.m. Be sure to check that out, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercats games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team that I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are discussing how the Giants absolutely destroyed the Diamondbacks, a player profile on someone I'm incredibly excited about, Dakota Jordan, and we attempt to explain this offensive explosion. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. The Giants continue to keep the juice flowing, and at this point, anytime they lose at the top of your rotation, it's going to hurt even more. And the Giants could have let that be the case, but they completely flipped it around. Dominic Smith, who we talked about yesterday, ties it up. Okay, they load the bases not long after that. And let's not forget Jung Hoo Lee. He had a home run, but more importantly, a beautiful bunt. I have been begging and praying for him to bunt more and go the other way more. And that's exactly what he's been doing. He's been doing both. The Giants blow the whole thing open. Everyone's hitting homers. Drew Gilbert is biting people. Logan Webb strikes out 7. He gets the W, first time in his career. He's reached 200 strikeouts. He's only behind 2 other guys in Major League Baseball when it comes to the strikeout number, 200 plus. It's just good stuff all around. You look around as the Giants take care of business. You look around, and this is what I'm doing every single day now, right? As soon as the Giants, typically I wait for the Giants to take the lead, or I wait for somebody to score, okay? And as soon as somebody scores, whether it's the Giants or the other team, I decide to check the Mets score. I do not check before the game. Look, man, baseball players can be superstitious, even washed up baseball players like me. I do not check until somebody scores. I do not check beforehand. And that's 3 games now that the Giants are back of the Mets. They also don't have the tiebreaker. So that's basically 4 games. And before we get too excited, it is still going to be really tough. The Mets right now are just completely unable to hold serve, especially with that time difference. They're going into these games, and the Giants are going into these games already knowing what has happened, right? So they're going into a game knowing, okay, the Mets have already lost. Not to say that there's a different level of focus, but I do think that, I'm pretty big on sports psychology. I think that type of stuff matters. Hey, we have an opportunity here. And the Mets, they lost 1-0 to the Phillies. And we discussed yesterday how the Mets have been ridiculously good against the Phillies. They were 7-2, and now that goes up to 7-3. They lose 1-0. And the biggest thing to me outside of all this is that the Giants, who had been on an absolute tear, an absolute roll, and it all kind of came to a stop in St. Louis, they did not leave that juice in St. Louis with that series loss to the Cardinals, because they still looked good. Right? They played really well against the Cardinals, but we just weren't sure how exactly this was going to translate now that they lost the series. Okay, is it over now? And the Giants came out and said, no, it's not. Right? And it wasn't easy. They had to battle back, and they decided they were going to do that time and time again, and they did it via the home run. We're going to talk later in the show about that offensive explosion. Is there any type of explanation for it? But they have continued time and time again to prove to us that the almost always say die mentality that they had during that crazy stretch in summer has completely flipped into a never say die attitude. And honestly, it's been one of the more fascinating things to watch, because I think everybody across Major League Baseball right now is completely confused as to what they're seeing from the San Francisco Giants. I think a lot of people go back and forth on momentum, and I am somebody that really, really believes in momentum, and the Giants, they completely have it right now. Right, they absolutely have it right now. Out of all of the, and we talked about, look, the Diamondbacks, they were what, 7-3 going into this game, so they had a little bit of it. But the Giants have been rocking and rolling for a while now, and it's the way they're doing it. The Drew Gilbert stuff. Look, maybe it's a little over the top. Everybody knows I love Drew Gilbert. And I was on the Drew Gilbert train first, I will say, just from everything he did at Tennessee. And I've been following for a while. I didn't know that this is how he got down. But it just feels like the Giants are randomly turning into the feel-good story of Major League Baseball. And I did not have that on my bingo card. I don't think a lot of people had that on their bingo card. The biggest I guess, test that the Giants will have is when they do handle those series against the Dodgers. But the Dodgers have been scuffling. They're giving away no-hitters and blowing games left and right. So this thing is nowhere near finished. And I'm just, excited. We haven't done the Bob Melvin stuff in a while, and I've seen some of you in the comments. At least the Bob Melvin stuff is done now. This is really, really a weird feeling, because I was very much on the let's move on from Bob Melvin thing. If they miss the playoffs, I mean, it literally, and maybe the Giants are trolling us a little bit, because it literally would have taken something exactly like this in order for Bob Melvin to keep his job. If they weren't going to make the playoffs, right? If they don't make the playoffs, I think that initially I still felt like even a good stretch would not be enough for Bob Melvin. But even still right now, based on how they're doing it, the question marks that they've had, there's still been some questionable decisions from Bob Melvin, and the couple losses that they've had, you can refer back to those. But we haven't done a check-in like this in a while. There's still a world, but I just think that they are building up so much goodwill with all of the wins that we're seeing. I'm just not sure how Buster Posey could do it. I'm not sure. And I know this is probably exciting to hear for some fans and upsetting for others, but I feel like they've crossed the threshold. And it's less about the wins and more about the vibe of the team, the excitement of the team, the way everyone seems happy. I think there's still a version of this that you could fall back on and say, well, yeah, I mean, when you're chasing someone, they've played so poorly, they've put themselves out of this conversation. So now you're chasing someone. So you're still playing with the level of freedom that the Mets don't have, right? That the Padres don't have. You're still playing with a different level of freedom. And I think that's probably the best argument to still move on from him. I'm just not sure that it's strong enough, because they've been playing so well. It's hard to just assume, well, this is only because they're in this position and they wouldn't be playing this well if they were in a different position. So I think this thing might just be done as far as the Bob Melvin thing. They would have to fall off a cliff. I mean, we're under 20 games now. So they'd have to, even if they don't make the playoffs, and this is what some people were worried about. You get within 2 games and everybody's happy that you hung around and that you made a race out of it at the very end. And it's kind of the same things that we've seen. So we're not there yet. We'll see how it ends up, but just completely flabbergasted and speechless from what we're seeing from the San Francisco Giants, or what do they call them? The Bronx Bombers. That's what the Giants look like right now. It's incredible. It's incredible. Don't move. When we return, another really exciting player profile. This one on Dakota Jordan, a very exciting outfielder that the Giants organization and fans alike are ready to see get to the next level. More Locked On Giants coming up. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees, it takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying, which is extremely important to me because I have had a lot of bad experiences in that regard. Fees are included. Know your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. And I love zone deals too. Pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download Game Time today. Time for a profile on Dakota Jordan, the 22-year-old outfielder from Canton, Mississippi, that was drafted in the 4th round in the 2024 MLB draft out of Mississippi State. Dakota Jordan is swiftly positioning himself as one of the Giants' most electric minor league talents. A 22-year-old stud signed with the organization for nearly $2 million in 2024, which was seen as an overslot deal reflecting his elite raw power and speed, traits that had scouts buzzing. The 2025 season has only amplified that hype. Playing for Single A San Jose, Jordan slashed an impressive 311, 377, 497 with an OPS of 874. He launched 14 homers, and this is my personal favorite. Swiped 27 bases through 370 plate appearances before an injury briefly sidelined him. His tools and production have not gone unnoticed, man. Midseason prospect rankings now place him as the number 6 prospect in the Giants system, climbing up the organizational ladder quickly. Baseball America lists him as the Giants' number 7 prospect. Okay, in 2025, underlying his high ceiling upside. What's especially intriguing to me is Jordan's blend of raw power, fast bat speed, and rare wheels. The dude can absolutely fly, a combo that scouts believe had untapped potential coming in, and he's absolutely leaned into it this year. Basically, he's come into the organization and really exceeded expectations. I was reading that because of the moves that the Giants made with Chapman and others, they weren't able to get him in the 3rd round. And they were extremely excited to see that he was still available in the 4th round. And they thought he was the steal of the draft, or at least one of the steals of the draft. Right now, his expected date in the big leagues is 2027, which is the same as Bo Davison. But Dakota Jordan hasn't even hit Double-A yet. So that's just a testament to what he's done so far and how high the Giants are on him. I was doing some digging just because I saw the stolen bases, and I wondered, okay, well, can he play center? Or, you know, a lot of what are the specific differences between Dakota and Bo, who we talked about last week? And I think the biggest thing is that probably neither of them are the purest of center fielders, but Bo Davidson definitely can play center. It doesn't seem like that's in the cards, at least right now, for Dakota. Dakota played on the corners at Mississippi State. Even though he does fly, he's clearly got the speed. Arm strength-wise, I think they are not sure whether he's there yet. And just as a package, more so projects as a corner guy right now. So that is really the biggest thing on, or the biggest things on Dakota Jordan. And we, you know, both of them, obviously Dakota is righty, whereas Bo hits lefty, and a couple of the differences there, as they're both kind of on the same track and popped in, and I believe they're the same age too. So a lot of people have been curious, well, what are they literally have kind of the same build, if you will, as well. But I think the biggest thing is that Dakota is probably going to have to play a corner. And honestly, reading this, to me, he kind of seems like a souped up Elliot Ramos. Okay, that's what it reads like to me. Faster, as much pop, possibly more pop, and a better, more polished fielder. Right. And I think that's kind of the hope that they can get out of him. Not ready yet 2027 is the date. So Elliot Ramos, I know there have been some conversations about moving Elliot Ramos, and obviously they're on the same track, Bo and Dakota Jordan, but Bo is already in AA. These guys still got to, Bo still needs more time in AA. Dakota needs to get to AA. And then however they decide to handle, the organization decides to handle Sacramento and AAA. I hope they make their way out there selfishly for me so I can see them. But we have a ways to go, but he is destroying it in A-ball. And it's just another sign of things to come for the Giants. It really doesn't feel like the Giants are 18th in the farm system. It doesn't. And I think, honestly, a lot of this, well, we'll see again now that they've made these trades, but the biggest thing is the pitching, which is so different to what has been the thing that the Giants have been hindered with prior to. It was always the pitching that has kind of bolstered the Giants. And then the question was, well, what's going on with the position players? But right now, and they did add my guy Blade Tidwell, but right now, if you look at the Giants with Bryce Eldridge, with those outfielders that I just spoke about, Dakota Jordan, Bo Davidson, and there's still infielders that are even younger than them that are on the rise. It seems like the Giants, I don't know if it's on purpose, because obviously pitching wins championships and pitching and defense win you a lot, but it does feel like the Giants are kind of tired. I think they had to spend a lot of money on positions where things didn't pan out, and I feel as if the Giants have, maybe without even realizing that they're doing it, put more of an emphasis on, we got to hit on some of these position players. And to start out with some of the guys they have now, specifically Dakota Jordan, it's been great. I mean, I saw his highlight reel at Mississippi State, and it's just, it's something to behold. So you could imagine in however many years you have, you could have Jung Hoo Lee in center. You could have Bo and Dakota on the corners. One guy's a lefty, one guy's a righty, to kind of switch everything up, both with raw power, destroying things on the base paths, along with Jung Hoo Lee, who may steal some more bases. I mean, it is something to really, really, really just get excited about if you're a Giants fan. So Dakota Jordan, to me, they both are raw in a certain sense, Bo and Dakota, but the comparisons and what they're doing, I do think that there are enough differences. And look, here's the thing: if we're being completely honest, if one of them hits and if one of them becomes an above average major leaguer, you're excited about it. Now, if both of them hit, now you're cooking with hot grease, and now you're playing with house money. But the hope is that, again, you're throwing darts at the board, you're seeing what sticks, and you're getting guys that we believe, even though the Giants are having this crazy offensive explosion that we're about to talk about, you're getting guys that you feel like can do damage in other ways and help the offense when the home runs aren't rolling right now. So a shout out to Dakota Jordan. Cannot wait to continue to watch his career and his future seasons unfold. Speaking of that offensive explosion, let's get right to it for our last segment of Locked On Giants when we return. Don't move. We'll be right back. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You can identify that you aren't saving as much money as you thought. Monarch helps you notice an inefficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from past jobs. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. Let's talk about the offensive explosion that we've seen from the San Francisco Giants as they put up 11 against the Diamondbacks last night. The Giants recently snapped their home run streak of 18, which was the longest streak of any team this season, and followed up ending that streak by starting a new one. And they did it to the tune of 5 home runs in a game, which is also something else that they haven't done all season. The whole thing is just incredible, man. And they look like a completely different team. It's funny because you know what we haven't heard, or at least I haven't heard throughout the last 3 weeks or about a month at this point, anyone complaining about Oracle Park. And that's myself included. Nobody is complaining about Oracle Park anymore because the Giants are acting as if they're playing at Yankee Stadium, or where is it that the Cincinnati Reds play? They call it Great American Small Park, or obviously Coors Field, where the Giants took care of business not too long ago. They've just looked like a completely different squad. And one of the bigger things, if not the biggest thing when it comes to hitting, is balance, right? A couple weeks ago when the Giants were struggling, I said that it looks as if the Giants are out in front a lot. And every single hitter looks balanced right now. They look balanced at the plate, and they just seem to have a plan. They have a plan. They know what they want to do. Another shout out to Patrick Bailey. He's been absolutely locked in. And we know how a guy like that doing what he does can really extend the lineup. Immediately, Patrick Bailey, again, I don't know if he's just decided to simplify things. Immediately, that huge inning that they had, Patrick Bailey gets up there, doesn't try to do too much, just get a ball in the air and sack fly. Like, that's what your catcher, especially a Gold Glove catcher, that's all your Gold Glove catcher has to do. That's all they have to do. They don't have to try to hit a splash hit. They don't have to try to hit a home run, which he did later in the game when you let the game come to you. Back in August, Pat Burrell talked about how Bailey is really good at studying himself as well as pitchers to try to figure out how they could be attacking him. And it seems like he's definitely figured something out. Whatever that thing is, I think we're all trying to figure out, but don't really care as long as you're hitting. I think we all knew that the Giants were better at the plate than what they were showing us during that brutal summer stretch. So a swing back to the other side was assumed to happen eventually, but I don't believe anybody saw it coming. And honestly, every day I watch it, I'm still astounded that it's happening, and I'm just ready for it to stop. I mean, not ready for it to stop, but I'm just kind of protecting myself, thinking, okay, is today going to be the day that it does stop? Right? I'm preparing myself, I should say. And every day, day game, night game, at home, on the road, it hasn't. It hasn't. And you know, even going back from what happened in St. Louis, a lot of people commented on yesterday's show, well, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. We knew everything was going to cool off. And then the Giants come out and put up 11. So we're initially thinking, okay, this was it. Now they're going to struggle. They got the Diamondbacks, who are 7-3. It's a divisional game. This is where the Giants are maybe going to trip over themselves a little bit. And look, the series isn't over yet. And this is what happens when you have no margin of error, right? Everything that they did last night, if the Mets win and the Giants lose, I mean, that hurts. That's going to sting a lot. And as I keep saying, the Giants aren't going to win every single game. It's just a matter of matching things up. And that's somehow what they did in St. Louis. You know, if the Mets do take care of business, the Giants would be done right now. But they were able to kind of match things, luckily match things up, losses to losses, and then didn't gain ground. But fortunately, they didn't lose ground. So the pressure still stays on the Mets. But I don't think anybody knew that this was coming. I mean, the Rafi Devers thing, he's Rafi Devers. He's Rafael Devers. This is what you expect out of a dude like that. But Matt Chapman coming back from injury, I was critical of Matt Chapman when I first started on Locked On Giants. All those, about a month ago now, and people, Allen, look, he's been injured. Let's see what he does. And Matt Chapman has come back, and he has rocked, and he has rolled. Drew Gilbert, I mean, the outfielder output, I saw some crazy numbers on Jung Hoo Lee. Jung Hoo Lee really struggled in June, and since then he's turned it around. I believe he's third in NL batting average since the beginning of August. So he really has turned it around after scuffling. It's just the midsummer scuffles, if you will, and everybody was dealing with it at different times, and they've completely turned it around. And Jung Hoo Lee specifically, I was talking about him during the Dakota Jordan segment, his ability to just recognize that he needs to be different at the plate and he needs to approach things differently. Guys like that, and I know he's bigger. He's not bigger than Drew Gilbert, but he's taller than Drew Gilbert. Guys like that, most of their power is going to come from pull, right? That's just how it is, whether it's Drew, whether it's Jung Hoo Lee. Smaller guys like that, whether it's by size or just their frame, that's going to come from pull. So the way you should approach it, and I'm not telling Jung Hoo Lee how to hit, but the way you typically approach it, I would know as a smaller lefty, is when you do get something in your happy zone inside, you can go to town on that. But on the outside, don't try to do too much. Just go to the other way, because you probably, not to say Drew Gilbert and Jung Hoo Lee can't hit oppo tacos. I'm not saying that, but typically you're not going to see them do it as much as you see Rafi Devers and some of these bigger hitters do it. So you just kind of take your medicine at that point, take it the other way, because you can steal a base. And I know Jung Hoo Lee doesn't steal a ton of bases, but that's typically the approach. It's all based on what you're looking for, and it's all based on the count. So that's what I'm seeing from Jung Hoo Lee. Rafi Devers is Rafi Devers. Willie Adames, he's going to be streaky. He's going to be streaky. That's just who he is. Matt Chapman, I think, has turned back the clock a little bit, and that's been fun to see. We already discussed Patrick Bailey. Elliot Ramos, people were starting to worry about his power. We saw him flash some of that yesterday. So all of these guys, Matos feels like he was red hot, feels like he's cooled off a bit, but, still able to do some things and get on base and just keep the line moving. That's really what it feels like the Giants have been able to do. Just keep the line moving and make sure that it feels like it's just no rest for the pitchers. And that's kind of where they've been at. And I think that it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. Still not sure when it's going to stop. Still not sure if tonight's the last night. No clue, but just enjoying the ride and hoping that the Mets just continue to lose, because things have flipped now. I think that you look up and the Mets, they know they have the tiebreaker, but each and every game, and you still have the Phillies. I think the Mets might be, honestly, if the Mets are looking, and I know the Dodgers have scuffled, the Mets are probably sitting there saying, well, look, the Giants still have 7 against the Dodgers. So if we can just keep our heads above water, that's probably what the Mets are thinking at this point, and it's clearly not working. So maybe they should be thinking something differently, because it ain't working. And right now the bats are working for the Giants, and a couple more games left here. 18 more games. They just have to continue to just focus on themselves. They're getting a really nice opportunity right now with this time difference to know what's in front of them, and they're attacking it. They are attacking it over and over again. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants with me, Alan Stiles. Be sure to follow me on social media and continue to subscribe on YouTube, and download, subscribe, everything wherever you get your podcasts as well. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen, and Locked On Giants your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-night Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB on Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.